So I know that you two have moved. I won't say moved around a lot, but I know you've been back and forth a couple times. I think between Utah and Texas, and you've had a few moves in there since then,
Hmm.
since your first move to Utah. Have you found that those subsequent moves have also had kind of an impact in your relationship similar to that first, or was that just a very unique one?
You can. I feel like I've been doing all the talking.
That's because you're better at it.
Perfect.
I think every single move had a purpose. I think we were guided to make each one of those moves. Maybe the first one, I don't want to say felt like we were fleeing, but I got the opportunity to do diesel school,
Let's go to school.
and it was awesome. We were kind of both excited about it, and
Really?
we made the move, and things really did work out. And then we kind of felt like we, got to the top of that hill, and there was another opportunity, and so we took it. And every single time, it's been another opportunity. And we kind of feel like things don't. They get to a point where they just not like they're going against us, but things just aren't working out the way we wanted or hoped. And opportunities show up elsewhere.
Hmm.
And when we moved here, that was my opportunity. And then when we moved to Texas, I had a great job, but that was Lindsay's opportunity.
To Texas?
Yeah.
I feel like it was
For school
both.
and your degree and everything.
I feel like it was both because initially we moved to Texas so that we could be close to Mike's family. Because we had always, after we moved here to Utah, I love my mom, but after we moved here to Utah, about a year later, my parents sold their house and followed us because they didn't want to be away from their grandkids. And at the time, we were the only ones with grandkids. So they moved here. And so we were like, okay, well, that's great, and we lived down in Orem for about 2 years while Mike was going to school. And then we moved up here to Salt Lake, and we lived here for 5 years. And when we moved to Texas, it did kind of feel like that initial one, except that we were moving to be with Mike's side of the family. And so I can remember feeling, when we first moved to Texas, I can remember feeling kind of abandoned, more so than in that first move. Because in the first move, we came to Utah where there was nobody here. And in
Well,
this,
your sister.
the big move, well, yeah, but she was engaged and getting married and stuff, so she was in her own little world, So she and I didn't get to hang out as much as I would have liked. But Mike, when we moved to Texas, Mike was able to hang out with his brother Chris more, and Mike and Chris have always been really, really close. And so I kind of felt like I was in this new place and I didn't know anybody, and my kids were little. And yeah, I was going to school, but, I didn't know anyone there either. And Mike was always over at Chris's house. And I can remember just feeling like, I want Chris to go away for a little while. Even though I loved him, and I do love him, and I love his wife, but I didn't know her very well at the time. And so it was hard at first. But once I expressed that to Mike, he really tried hard to make sure that he was spending just as much time with me, hopefully, as he did with Chris. But it was also a growing time for us, for me, also going to school. Just a little background there for me. Part of the Elusive follow-through also is teaching moms that it's not just about your motherhood, even though that's a huge part of your life, but that's not necessarily what defines you. Because when my youngest was 3, I decided to go back to school for accounting. And so I took the next 6 years to earn my bachelor's and my master's in tax accounting. And now I'm trying to gather the desire to pass the CPA exams, which are like killing me. But that time in Texas was when I was getting my bachelor's, and that was a huge growth time for me. as well, and for us.
Yeah,
And
you did your internship. All kinds of
did
cool
a lot of really
stuff.
cool things.
Yeah.
And then we decided to move back to Utah in 2015, and I got my master's here at the U. And yeah. So does that answer your question?
Sure, sure. I think, and it answered at least one and prompted a few others because
Okay.
that's the way things work. So,
Okay, cool.
okay. So one question I had, both of you, but Mike, I think you talked a little bit more in these terms about opportunities, and you were both were talking about different opportunities presenting themselves at different points, and how do you recognize those opportunities when they come your way? Because I think that's something a lot of people struggle with, is seeing and recognizing opportunities and taking steps to take advantage of those opportunities when they come.
So I personally feel that it has to feel right. It sometimes it comes as a surprise, but like if you're just not sure, it's just like something doesn't feel right or it doesn't make sense. You know what I mean? That's not necessarily a bad thing, but I don't view those as opportunities like what we've been given. Like when we did move to Texas, I remember we were kind of kicking around the idea, and I was a diesel mechanic for a Caterpillar dealer at the time, and Lindsay's like, well, is there any dealers in Texas? And I just, Googled it, found one, emailed the manager, explaining who I was, and here's a copy of my resume, and if you ever want to talk, let me know. And he called like 10 minutes later.
It was really fast.
He called me, yeah. And that, and just everything we, like looked into or checked out or something, just made sense.
It all fell into place.
Yeah, it's like like we were being pushed in that direction. Not, I don't know if you understand physics. It was a vacuum, and we were being pulled in that direction. Everything else in our life was a pressure on us, but there didn't seem to be any pressure that way. So that's the way we went. And the same thing with coming back. Yeah, we had to make some adjustments for Lindsay's school, and it was really hard on the kids because they were like
older.
Yeah, middle school going into high school. It was rough. But when we went down there, we decided to rent our house here because the market sucked at the time and we couldn't sell it.
Yeah.
So we rented it, and we had great renters. And then we wanted to sell our house to them because we were trying to stay in Texas. So we were trying to sell our house. We were trying to get all, everything situated, and we were even looking for homes to buy and everything down there. And nothing just worked out. Nothing did. And then our renters, they couldn't buy the house. So they're just like, we'll just get out of your way so you can buy it. So they moved out and left us without renters. And well, that was a struggle.
Sell it.
Yeah, so we can sell it.
Yeah.
And they took great care of the house. And then,
But when we tried to put this house on the market, we were going to have to pay like $11,000 or something ridiculous to get out from underneath it.
Everything was difficult. And the houses we were trying to buy, it wasn't working.
Yeah.
Everything sucked. I went for a promotion at work and didn't get it. Like I was feeling, defeated. And then we just started kicking around the idea of coming back because we were going to lose our house. We didn't want to do that and trash our credit that we had worked really hard to repair. And so I sent a text to my old boss just asking if he had a position open, and he was like, when can you start?
Yeah. And like,
so again, everything just seemed to fall in line. It was crazy.
And like we had originally thought that, because I was only like one semester away from graduating with my bachelor's, and we thought that I was gonna have to stay in Texas for that last semester, but I was able to take equivalent classes at the U and then transfer them back to the UT Arlington, and I was able to finish my degree in Texas in Utah, if that makes sense.
From Utah?
Yeah, from Utah. And we got, the job, and everything just fell into place. As soon as we, started thinking about, I think, what Heavenly Father wanted us to do.
I was gonna say, we we definitely, once we started praying about it, that's when things seemed to, I don't know, smooth out.
Yeah, and I'm sorry, I don't know if you try and keep your blog, I don't know, like less spiritually inclined, but for me, I feel like that's always been a huge, I don't know, just like that's kind of how we make our decisions, is whether or not, you know, we feel like praying about it and stuff, if it's going to work out that way. And so for us, that's huge. For other people, it might be, you know, the universe or good feelings or whatever. But for us, it's God, and
well, yeah, that is our universe and our good feelings. We believe it's coming from Heavenly Father.
And it always feels like if it's meant to be, it'll work out, and if it's not, they're going to throw all kinds of roadblocks in front of you and make it so that it doesn't work out. So that's probably how we recognize the opportunities, I guess. Okay. Just think about them all.
Okay. Let's see. We talked about mental health a bit at the beginning. So, Mike, I want to ask you, what has been one of the most important things for you that you found to be supportive of Lindsay?
I love her. I love her a lot. I don't want her to be sad. I don't want her to be defeated. You know, like we mentioned earlier, I'm a fixer. So when I see an opportunity to try, I take it. Sometimes I absolutely fail, but I try to be patient. Try to care for her, give her what she needs. I've been married to her for a long time. I know her soft spots, and if it's showing up unexpected with flowers or making her favorite meal, offering her rubber feet, whatever the deal is, I believe I can see her triggers too. The things that, I can tell when her mood has shifted, and I try to be proactive and, counteract them, I guess. And I try not to argue when she's like that. When she's like that, when she's on one, I guess. But
you could say. I can't win all of them. I guess I have to concede sometimes. But
sometimes those are the times I'm holding out for. But I don't know. I don't ever want to. I don't think I'll ever give up. There are times where I have to walk away. But I want her to be happy. That's ultimately it.
Looking at it from his perspective, honestly, if I were to switch the two of us and I was the one that had to struggle with me, I couldn't do it. I just couldn't. So his patience level is just through the roof. Just amazing. And I don't have that kind of patience, and so I can't relate. But
I'm just imagining little scenarios like, let's say she's driving somewhere and there's someone being an idiot on the road. She'll what's your problem? Honk at them.
I do not.
She'll speed up to get around them. And me, I'm just like, look at that idiot. I'm just like, let's stay back here and watch.
Whatever. I'm a perfect driver.
She is.
Oh goodness. Okay, switching topics.
Okay.
So Lindsay, you mentioned that you finished your master's. Mm-hmm. You're close to being able to go for your CPA.
Well, I've tried many times, and I've not passed the tests yet.
Okay.
So I'm in the midst.
Okay, so that was going to be my question: is what's holding you back? Because it sounded like you hadn't made that effort yet. So.
Oh no, I have.
Okay.
And that's the hard part. Like being a mom with kids, it's a lot harder to pass this kind of thing, and being that I entered the workforce later when I already had the kids, I kind of did it backwards compared to everyone else, So everyone else who's in my position at work, they all have babies, and usually they've got a wife who stays at home. I wish I had a wife who stayed at home.
Some of them are half her age.
Yeah, half my age. Not quite half. They're about mid-20s. But anyway, so it's hard to find the time to focus because trying to pass these exams is like trying to pass the bar. And it's not easy. So finding the time and the desire, because some of it's pretty boring too, Gert.
Mm-hmm.
You just try and read it. There's only so much that you can read about governmental accounting and spending before you fall asleep. And
I can imagine.
Yeah. But
so do you think that's something that might be easier for you to study and put in that time? Not that your kids are older and going off to college and things like that?
yeah, I mean, it's funny when your kids get older, though. You know this. You've got a teenager. You end up getting these teenage problems that are way worse than toddler problems,
Yeah.
And so trying to navigate your way through your kids' teenage problems, oh, it just brings up all those memories from your own teenage problems, and you're just like, please no. But yeah, trying to find the time. It's not even so much trying to find the time because your kids are older, they're self-sufficient, they can pretty much take care of things. It's more trying to find you don't agree?
No.
They're not self-sufficient?
No.
Uh-oh.
So no, hold on. I'm not attacking any children. I'm thinking about you. I mean, to Garrett's question, would it be easier if the kids were old and gone? Yes, I think.
But
Right
he's
now,
asking if it's easier now that they are getting older.
I don't think so. Because now we're, Lindsay, not me. Lindsay is helping them manage their bank accounts, helping them do like car insurance, helping them with doctor appointments, and talking about what happened at school today and who's going to what party and when and all that stuff. I don't do that stuff.
I'm the manager of the house.
Yeah, hands down. That's my point. Like Lindsay, when you're younger and you don't have kids or maybe just a baby, I think time is easier to manage because you've got one center of your life. Mm-hmm. But Lindsay, as I'm sure many other moms and dads do, there's several centers to her life. Mm-hmm. And she can't focus on herself. She can't.
I try. That's one of the things that I really try and push on my blog too, is to make sure that you put yourself first sometimes, because if you don't, your kids suffer, your husband suffers. Like when the kids were little, I got really into running, and I'm trying to get back into running again. It's hard, but anyway. But I did get really into running, and I think it was because at the time my kids were little, and that was my time. Getting away on a 1-hour run, I could put in my earbuds, I could listen to music, and I could just be in a zone. And I trained for and ran a half marathon. And this was back in 2010, and my youngest was 3. And this is about the time that I enrolled in school. And I needed that time, because I was going crazy. I was feeling like I had nothing. All I had was my kids, and I ran a little daycare, and so I had extra kids. And I just had kids coming out of my ears. And so it was a chance for me to get away and be by myself. And I got healthier, and I felt great, and I felt like I could tackle so much more. And, and that was my me time. And it was important. And now that the kids are older, they're in school all day. I'm home alone most of the day. I actually have to work from home right now because of COVID. And so I'm literally home all day, every day by myself. So I've got time. It's just, I don't know, it's not the same desire to kind of have that me time, because I have a lot of me time right now, if that makes sense. But anyway.
Mike, I know that look. What are you thinking, buddy?
She says she has a lot of me time, but she works from home.
I do.
So I see the struggle, from the outside, that, if she does take a break from work,
It's usually to go pick up the girls or to go to a doctor's appointment.
yeah, or sometimes she does actually take a break from work to get away from work, but it's just into the other room. And I know from talking to her, she feels guilty that she's not working. So her mind can't focus on her. It's not the center of her world.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
maybe.